Hey guys, what's up? Coach Todd.
And Coach Alisha.
And I'm going to actually interview Alisha because we put something on our Facebook page the other day about you and wanting to lose. And I asked you before I wrote it, and I said 20 pounds. Now,
No,
20 pounds was just a rough guesstimate. What?
Yeah, that's fine.
We were just saying, okay, about 20 pounds. It might be 15 pounds, whatever. But the point is, we talked about how for the first time, everybody always thinks of me as the guy that had the transformation and the weight struggles and all that kind of stuff. And everybody's always like, oh, Alicia's never struggled with weight. And in all honesty, when we've talked about us as in the coaching business with NC Fit Club, we've always said, well, Alisha never really had any weight to lose. Well, talk about how you felt recently prior to the cruise a couple weeks ago. You started off.
Okay, well, first of all, I feel like I'm on a talk show, so.
Well, you are.
Should I call you Dr. Todd?
No, it's called, no.
Waiting for the audience applause anytime.
Right.
So let me actually go back to childhood, if that's okay, because
Sure.
a lot of people don't know me or know kind of like what I went through as a child. For those who have seen our daughter, she's very thin. Guess what? I was the same way. I never really had a weight issue as a kid. Did I have an eating disorder? Absolutely not. I ate everything in sight, and
To the point to where she would throw up.
well, not on purpose, but
I know,
would
she would eat
like,
so much she'd make
that
make
I would
herself
just
sick.
like, and I got car sick real easily. So if we went somewhere to eat and I ate too much, I would get sick. But that's gonna sound really weird. But so yeah, I ate everything and anything in sight. Like I had the craziest metabolism as a kid. Could not gain weight to save my life. Very extremely thin. And for those people who may have struggled with being overweight and gotten picked on, well, guess what? Being skinny, you still get picked on. So I got picked on by close friends and close family. And it affects your confidence. It affects your self-esteem. You know, I'm not going to sit here and like say everything that I was called, but it does affect you. So you go through this time where it's like, gosh, maybe there is something wrong with me. I don't want to put on a bikini because I look really thin, and this is kind of weird. And I remember being, you know, kind of fast forwarding through high school, wearing my clothes a little bigger than I probably should have.
Or could have.
Or
whatever.
could have. So, like, I look at Carly now, and, you know, for me, knowing what I've been through, to tell her, girl, rock it. Like, you are skinny. Take ownership of that. Don't let anybody tell you you're too skinny. You're not. You're healthy. I was the same way. You're good. So, I remember, like, my senior year of high school, eating cheese and drinking protein shakes just to gain weight. Like, that's how bad I felt of myself because I felt I was too skinny.
So fast forward
to
pre-Carly.
Yeah, so, you know, graduated high school, weighed a whopping 98 pounds, met you.
Did you really?
I
You
did.
were 98 pounds?
98 pounds. No, I was 98 pounds when I graduated high school. I was 115 pounds when I met you. And I stayed like that. Like, I could eat. My metabolism was great. Had Carly, lost all but like 10 pounds. So at this point, I'm like 125 pounds. But I liked being that weight because I didn't look thin anymore. I didn't look skinny. I looked healthy. So it kind of struck me the other day because I you know how you go through Facebook and your memories show up, and I came up on a memory from 5 years ago, and it was on our first Beachbody cruise actually, and I just got through working out, I believe, with Shalene Johnson, and I had on, and you could show this picture, but I had on black shorts and just my sports bra, and I'm looking at that picture and I was like, oh my gosh, like I remember that, but I remember being the weight that I was then and still not happy with myself.
Body image issues.
Right, obviously we all have that, because I've always complained, like most women, they say they gain weight, they gain it in their butt or their thighs. Mine is like this nice little kangaroo pouch is what I like to call it. So I like to get the little muffin top if I gain weight. That's just me. That's genetics apparently. So I've really been struggling because I just came off a hammer and chisel. I know that I gained muscle from that, but I'm gradually watching the scale just creep up, and I'm going, what am I doing? Like, I've got to take a look at me, because this isn't just you're not working out. my nutrition, it was a big issue. So
she found a magazine or a website or something. She found an interview that Dr. Oz had done on Facebook or something, and she filled out the questionnaire, and it said that you...
I had like stress belly, whatever that is.
But no, do not disarm that, because there's something to it, because you have been extremely stressed.
Yes.
And so it made sense that stress could have been playing a huge part of it over the last several months.
Right. So for some people who go through stress or whatever it might be in your life, you don't gain weight just because. Like, there's a reason people eat. There's a reason.
There's an emotional
and there's
stress
an emotional.
connection.
So it's like I had to reflect and go, okay, I'm stressed. This is why through the holidays, you go through Thanksgiving, you go through Christmas. You've known me for how long? What do I like to do? I like to bake.
You love to bake.
I like to bake. So it's like one of those things where I'd get stressed and I'm like, oh, let's make some cupcakes.
So let's get to where we... All right.
So hold on. So hold on. So it's not just...
Hold on.
It's not just sitting down and eating a whole box of cupcakes. I didn't do that. But it's having one here, something here, compound effect over several weeks. And even though I'm working out, not watching that nutrition, the scale was going up. And that bothered me. So for someone who, y'all are probably looking at me going, oh my gosh, I would die just to be that size, whatever. But knowing where I've been and how I've been all my life.
And where you were 5 years ago.
And where I was 5 years ago. Not that I want to be 125 pounds again. But it's one of those things where I know by dialing in my nutrition and really focusing, and I've done that all week and I've done really good, that I'm less bloated, I feel better, I'm not looking for a certain weight, because we're all, I could be the same weight that I am right now, but if I'm like toned and, have some abs and have like a little bit of muscle, I'm fine with that, because muscle weighs more than fat. So that's kind of where I'm struggling with. So when I say 20 pounds, yeah, I've been 20 pounds lighter. Do I want to get there? Can I get there again and look muscular? Absolutely not.
You don't have to share, unless you want to, the number that you were at a week or so ago. And I'll leave it up to you.
Well, let's see. It was 20 pounds heavier than 125, so it was 145.
Okay.
That's a lot for me.
Right, and I've watched her 2 weeks ago. She was struggling with it really, really bad. And I'm not trying to speak for you. I'm just trying to say what you may not want to say, is that you were struggling with it. And it bothered her to the point to where it was affecting us.
Right.
It was affecting her self-confidence. It was affecting her self-image and her body image issues. I thought she looked amazing. It didn't bother me at all, but I could tell it was bothering her, and it got to the point to where I'm like, look, I will support you doing whatever it is you need to do to get to where you want to be, to where your self-confidence and body image issues, the pendulum swings to the positive side. Whether that's 125 and 20 pounds, or whether that's 130 and it's 15 pounds, or whether it's
135,
or maybe it's 125. I mean, maybe it's 130 and you gain muscle, but you've lost more inches and you look like you did when you were 125.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
there was a lot of variables, but when I say 20 pounds,
just real briefly, because I don't want to make this video too long, but real briefly, talk about the shitty feelings you were having. If you or just kind of touch on what it was doing to you.
We
just went on the cruise.
Yeah.
Going on the cruise, leading up to that week in the cruise, what was that like?
It was stressful because...
Tell them why.
Because I didn't want to be in a bikini. I didn't want to be in a bathing suit. But then it's like I get there and I see people, average people that are bigger than me, and they're fine with it. And it's like, why can I not be
okay with where you are?
Okay with where I am.
Those people,
or confident in myself to do that.
Let's put a disclaimer. Those people could have been 70 pounds heavier,
exactly.
and they've gotten down 70 pounds. This is not a judgment thing. We're not saying...
Right, and I was not judging those people.
Right, we're not judging those people, but for you particularly, and everybody has to be happy with where they're at.
Right.
For you, you were not and are not happy with where you are currently, and you know that there is a sweet spot to where you feel good about yourself.
Because I've been there before.
And you feel good about yourself at that part.
Exactly.
Or at that point.
Right. Because like I said, you might look at me and be like, oh my God, what is she complaining about? It's not that I'm complaining. It's just I know where I have been, and I know I can get there.
And you know
and I'm not there.
And you know where you need to be to make you happy.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So this is where the journey begins. Actually, by the time we're shooting this video, we're about a week into the journey.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about this because we're going to wrap this video up right now. But basically, we did some research, and I don't know if I found it and then you researched it or whatever. But we started looking into intermittent fasting, where for us it's basically like we eat from like noon until 8 o'clock, or for her maybe noon till 9 or noon till 7 or whatever.
That late,
but it's about 16 hours.
And
16-hour fast from like 8 o'clock at night until noon the next day. 14 to 16-hour fast, depending on when you want to stop eating and when you start.
Right.
And we both have been experimenting with it. We're learning about it. You can research it if you want.
It's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody. You can research it if you want, but we're going to probably be talking about it over the next week or so, or 3 to 4 weeks as we do it, and we'll talk about our results. Just a week into it, I've noticed a difference. I'm down about 5 pounds. I was struggling to get 186, 185 is my sweet spot.
Right.
Because you're talking about your sweet spot. My sweet spot is about 185, which is where I need to be to look the way I want to look and be happy with it, and it not be too thin, because I was 179 when I finished Asylum years ago, and that was, you even said, and Sean said that was too thin on me. So 185 is my sweet spot. It's gotten me down to 185, 186, which is my sweet spot. And I have noticed that when I'm at 185, so I can relate to this, because when I'm where I'm at right now, I feel very good about the way I look with my shirt off. That's what I want for you.
Right.
When you're walking around topless, I want you to feel, I had to throw that in there. So anyway, so we're about a week into it.
Yeah.
We'll be talking more about it.
Yeah, and I mean, just so you know, I'm down about 3 pounds this week, which is good for me. I'm feeling great, feeling less bloated, but I'm also incorporating the 21-day fix containers in that 8-hour window where I am eating.
Yeah,
so
you're eating either 2 big meals a day or 3 small meals like you would normally
in an 8-hour
eat,
period.
but just in an 8-hour period.
Yeah, right.
So you just take your 3 meals and you put them in between 12 and 8, or you do 2 big meals, or you just take the number of containers that you need for that day and you eat them in that 8-hour period, however you want.
Right.
So anyway, so that's it. This is the beginning. We got a lot of response off that Instagram and Facebook post. People are like, oh my gosh, I want to hear about this. And she's always nervous about being on camera sometimes, not always. So I was like, you know what? I'll interview you. That way you don't have to worry about what to say. So I think you're hot.
Thanks.
All right. Take your top off.
Stop.
All right. Bye.